Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Monster Squad, and in this one we're going to go through floors 21 through 25. And I'm going to do a little bit of active commentary on this one and explain how the game's proceedingly getting difficult in this Sky Tower, and hopefully we can get a good guide out for the last few 5 floors here. So in this one, we're going to take a look at the rewards. Since they're getting a little bit better, we're starting to get A-class rewards now, and here you can see that some of these stones here say that there is a leader benefit. So this only affects the monster when it is in the leader position. You can equip this stone on any monster you like, but this MP recovery plus 10% will not affect anything on that monster unless it is your team's current leader. If you switch it into a sub position, then the benefit goes away, but when you put it in the leader position, then the monster gets the benefit. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the boss. Counter enemy healers by using skills that reduce the target's recovery. We don't really have to worry about that, but I am going to switch out this Angel Ami here for a Pentacorn just so we can go a little bit faster, and let's go ahead and get started. So we're just going to run the next few floors like any other dungeon we've been doing so far. They're fairly easy, and I'm just going to take this time to talk about some of the changes that came with the patch and with the Magic Stones addition. As you can see, my Ibomancer just used a stun there. That actually did get nerfed in the last patch. It was increased by about 2 seconds, I believe, and that's because the cooldown reduction Magic Stones were added. And each one of the Magic Stones at its end level has some sort of iteration of speed or cooldown reduction. If you look at Time Stones, those are mainly for cooldown reductions. Then Offensive and Bravery Stones and things like that have cooldown reduction on them. That basically makes the cooldown of the abilities each one of the monsters has shorter. So we're not gonna really need those for, Pentacorn on our screen here, because his is just a buff and it's up by the time we need it again anyway. But abilities like Anubis's Bleed that just got used and the Ibomancer's Stun, if you actually reduce their cooldowns, you're getting way more effectiveness out of them. So those are the stones I've been stockpiling, and we're just going to hold on to those until we get to floor 25-ish, and we're going to see how far we can upgrade those, and then we're going to throw them on our team. I have a feeling we're going to need them, because as you can see, these monsters are taking quite a beating. Although they're not doing too much to us, they do have a ton of HP, a ton of defenses, and the timer at the top does seem to run out fairly quickly. But we are getting some good rewards here. Let's see, we got a purple box, and as long as we keep saving those and upgrading them, we should be good to go. And in this one, let's see, it looks like don't let enemy curses keep you down, lift negative side effects early and often. That's fine since Metapander does that, but I'm actually going to go ahead and switch out the Pentacorn this time around for a Angel Ami. I noticed in the last one we were taking a little bit too much damage. Our Pentacorn almost died a couple times, so we're going to go ahead and go switch that out. Let's take a look at the rewards. Thunderstone 2, and Thunder Spirit Stone 1, and Thunderstone 1. I also forgot to mention, unique right here, this means that you're only allowed to have one Spirit Stone 1 on a specific monster at a time. You cannot put more than one. If it's got a unique modifier on it, that means only one of those stones is allowed on the monster. But what that does mean is that you can have one Spirit Stone 1, and then one Spirit Stone 2, and then one Spirit Stone 3 attached to a monster. Even if all 3 of those stones have the exact same numeric values on their buffs, but the 2 will obviously be better than the 1, and the 3 will be better than the 2, you can still put all of them on the monster even though they're unique. The unique only applies to that very specific type of magic stone in question. So only 1s will be blocked by other 1s, and only 2s will be blocked by other 2s. So remember that, and if you're trying to stack a certain type of attribute on one of your monsters, for instance, for my Ibomancer it would be cooldown reduction, and for my Anubis it would also be cooldown reduction, then I would, go ahead and grab a bunch of time stones, put a 1, put a 2, and put a 3 on there, even though it might be not as beneficial, whereas if you put something else on there, it would get a little bit more overall stat-wise. I really want to stack cooldown reduction, so the way I can get the highest cooldown reduction on these monsters, I will do that, even if it means sacrificing other types of attributes, because cooldown is going to be the best for these particular monsters. So save your magic stones for when you have a decided team composition and some backup monsters to switch in and out, and then use your magic stones on them to make them stronger. I'm going to be putting together a list of monsters you want to do that for, but for now let's focus on the Sky Tower. As you can see, this Pentacorn is taking pretty much no damage from us. This is the tip that was mentioned in the beginning. We want to use abilities at certain times, and we want to use certain types of monsters because they deal more damage. as you can see, this Pentacorn is debuffing our entire team. Now, I didn't notice that here until right now, where you can see me spamming the Purify a little bit. We have to keep remembering what the tip in the beginning told us, because if we don't do that, then we won't be able to beat the time limit. As you can see, we're getting very close to that time limit at the top. 10 seconds left, and I barely beat this Pentacorn. If I had run out of that time, then we would have failed this room and we would have to do it all over again. This comes into huge play in the next room, and I'll get a little bit more into that when we get there. For now, let's look at our rewards. It is a rank C and a B. So for this next room, I'm actually switching out my Ibomancer for a Pentacorn because I noticed it wasn't really doing much for me. I actually ran out of time on this dungeon one time before, so I switched up my entire team strategy. Instead of the stun and survive strategy, I'm just using a all-out offensive strategy. My Angel Army in the back gives me extra mana regen for the Metapanzer, so he can start spamming out shields and the Purifies, and my Pentacorn will be giving my Anubis extra damage, and the Anubis will have enough damage to punch through the defenses of the monsters here. Now, these monsters are very, very strong, and they gain a damage, a defense debuff whenever they attack. So as you can see, the Darkhawk, his recharge timer is very slow, but when it fills up, it's going to stay filled up for many, many attacks, and he's just going to constantly repeat attacks. You'll see he'll do one attack here, get stunned for a little bit, then as soon as the stun's off, he's charging up another attack. It took me a while to figure this out, a couple tries, and I finally got it down. So every time he starts charging up, I wait about 1 second, throw up a shield, my shield takes the brunt of the damage, and it stuns itself, giving me enough time to get my energy back up. I just rinse and repeat this until the Darkhawk dies, but you want to bring in the Pentacorn specifically because the Darkhawk has so much defense on its own that the damage output just is not enough to go through it. And if we don't have anybody like Metapanzer on the team to give us shields, then the damage reflect from here and the lack of shield will just make our team fall. So you have to use a defense team, and you want to use a bleeding monster with a attack buffer. The Angel Army isn't necessary, but it's nice to have because it gives your Metapanzer extra defense shields to throw up. If you don't have an Angel Army, on the other hand, you can swap out the Metapanzer for somebody with a cheaper shield to use. Something with a 60 mana shield or an 80 mana shield will work, and then you can swap out the Angel Army for yet another attacker. I hope that helps, guys. This wasn't an in-depth guide, but I will be putting one out for each one of the floors. Each floor from 25 to 30 will get their own specific guide to hopefully make those floors a lot easier. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next videos.